Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lady Tale podcast. And yeah, if you're wondering why I'm just aimlessly walking around looking into the computer, not even a computer. Can you imagine if I was holding an entire laptop right now? That would be insane. Walking around talking to the phone screen is because I'm in Nebraska and I was supposed to be teaching a class, and then I was like, teaching a class and doing an interview is going to be a stretch, but I'm getting them both done. What? Because I'm amazing. I mean, I'm a narcissist, so I have to say that about myself, right? Anyway, I'm Winona, by the way. Yes, I remember to introduce myself. High five to my imaginary hand that is holding the phone. If I had a third hand, that's where I would be like, high five. I don't, because I'm not very odd looking yet. Wait till old age gets a hold of me. Anyway, I wrote books. So every once in a while, I have something actually interesting and or fun to say that is wise. Because normally it's interesting and fun and it's stupid. But sometimes it's wise. So I write them down. And those are in books. So I've ended, I thought divorce was bad. And I thought being girl on Pussy, if only I were me, a memoir in verse, Foreign Coffee, Widow's Web, and Widow's Debt. You can find any of those books wherever you find audiobooks. Yeah. And if you want to see the other 11 books that we've written, because, 17 books all in total, 6 plus 11 equals 17. Yes, these are all our numbers in sign language, by the way, 17 books. You can find them at www.andithoughladies.com. And, I'm going to do it again because, I'm in Nebraska and I'm standing in the middle of some weird kitchen nook thing in the hotel. So, hey, let's try to put some comedy in it, like a car salesman this time. www.andithoughladies.com. Yeah, that was a little funny. I even saw the little lines there. That's what made it funnier for me. Anyway, you're not here to hear about me. You're here to hear about our wonderful guest. Wonderful guest, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Dominic Goodie. I am a veteran and I'm a filmmaker in Atlanta, Georgia.
I'm a veteran and a filmmaker. I was going to ask a question about being a veteran, but I feel like filmmaker is much more interesting. I'm coming back to veteran, though. I'm definitely coming back to the veteran part. But let's talk about being a filmmaker. What films have you made, first and foremost?
I just released my first full-length feature film called Witness. It's about 83 minutes. I've shot a bunch of short films, a bunch of music videos, and I work in the industry as part of the union. So I've worked on a number of Marvel shows, Falcon Winter Soldier, WandaVision, recently She-Hulk and Hawkeye, stuff like that. But I also work on other shows outside of Marvel. But me as myself, I write and direct a lot of my own films. So my first big feature film, we just finished and just did our distribution deal. So hopefully it's on streaming services pretty soon.
What? Okay, first of all, as a narcissist, I have to ask, why was I not invited to the premiere?
We put it out, but apparently I was happy to know that we sold out of 324 seats of our theater that we rented out.
It's amazing. I could have stood. Would it have been, wait, if I had stood up, would it have been free?
Oh, the tickets are free. I think that's why we sold out.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I thought I had done my homework, but apparently I missed that the tickets were free. On my bad.
Okay.
What inspired you to go on from working from other shows to actually taking on the full mantle and directing and writing your own?
Well, to be honest, before I got into the industry, I did go to college at Full Sail University in Florida for film producing, and I got my bachelor's in film production and my master's in creative writing. So I've always had the drive to create. It's just, I guess, getting yourself to that point where it's like, you know what, I'm not waiting on anyone else. I'm gonna write my own. I'm gonna shoot my own. I'm gonna direct my own. I even edit my own films. I do all this stuff because building a team sometimes is not as easy as just finding people that are like-minded. Like, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? A lot of people sometimes drop the ball, and sometimes you got to pick it up yourself and go. So a lot of the short films I've done, a lot of the music videos, a lot of stuff I've done with people who aren't even actors, like friends and people who are just like, I'm willing to act if you're willing to do it. It's like, yeah, I'm willing to shoot. So this feature film Witness, I actually met a lot of industry friends that I pulled them into this, but to be honest, I've only had 4 actual actors in the film. Everyone else in the film are just friends and people who wanted to just help make the film a reality.
Well, the narcissist in me has to say, add me to the list. But the professional in me has another whole question. You said
Okay.
that you did get a distribution deal. Like, can you tell us a bit about the distribution section? Because I'm not going to lie, on this podcast, we have never talked about what it takes to get distribution.
Well, honestly, it's kind of really, I would say, like a miracle in a sense, because during the hype and the build up between the screening and everything, I've been talking to people, and people have actually been reaching out to me to get, I guess, a hold of the film. So a good friend of mine, Vincent M. Ward, he's from The Walking Dead and stuff like that. He was actually in the film. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, I have a friend of mine. She works for a company, and they just got a distribution deal to start distributing independent films. I'm gonna tell her that your premiere is coming up, and for her to hopefully reach out and come up." So we reached out to her. She joined the premiere. She said she liked it a lot. We went over the contract and everything seemed amazing, and the percentages were really good. So we were like, okay, let's go ahead and try this out. So we signed the deal, I would say, last week. So we're just waiting for whatever channels is about to go on: Apple TV, Tubi, Peacock. I think Netflix and Hulu, they have some of their own as well. So we're just waiting to see what actually gets picked up on. But we're still excited that we actually got the first deal pretty early.
Okay, now I have heard so many horror stories about getting a distribution deal for a movie that, like,
Mhm.
my own little movies, I'd be like, the people like, where are you going to distribute? I'll be like, YouTube. Because, yeah, no, I hear so many terrible stories. YouTube.
Well, that's why sometimes you gotta do your vetting, and my wife is a big person for that. Says all the time, it's like, if you get a deal, like even recently, I'll talk about it later, but anybody that comes to you, you got to double check them, ask around, make sure people are legit, or see if anyone has any of these horror stories that they heard of that you can be like, I don't think I want to go down that road. But we did our vetting, we checked around, and it was the best option. And no one really had anything bad to say about the distribution side of it. Everyone was pretty much agreeing that it seemed like it was a really good deal.
Okay, so I'm gonna need some of that love since
Okay.
I'm on my way. So what was the hardest challenge? Okay, no, I lied. I was going to do another professional question about challenges of being a creative and all that. La 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 la.
Okay.
You're gonna hear about it right after this question. It has been
Okay.
my lifelong dream to eat craft services. So I want to hear about craft services on your movie set. Was it good? Was it bad? Was it in between? And who has had the best craft services that you've ever had?
Industry wise, craft services is super simple if you want to think about it. It's just a big table and has pretty much all these snacks on it, and then they, in the beginning of the day, they'll have some breakfast stuff like, muffins and things like that, and throughout the day they have what they call hot snack, which is like Chick-fil-A burgers, or any type of thing that they like to bring in between our lunch times, because our catering is what gives us our main meals, our breakfast in the morning catering, then our lunch and afternoon catering. So our craft services were pretty much, since it was an independent project, Public sandwiches. I don't know if you have been to Public sandwiches has really, really good hoagies, a lot of snacks and water and sodas. A lot of people drink sodas, but it's good to stay hydrated, so you gotta drink your water. But some people still like them Cokes and those Pepsis and things like that. So I would say, honestly, the best craft service I had would have to be on the Marvel projects. For some reason, they just have the money to just get whatever they want snack wise. So and they do energy drinks, because we have long 14 to 15-hour days, stuff like that. But sometimes they'll have energy drinks, but the food on the Marvel craft service side is just really good.
Okay, so one of my friends has worked with Marvel before, and that's what she kept talking about was the craft services. She was like, "Oh, and then the craft service." You know that, like, this is my lifelong. Like, I have everything on my bucket list is done except craft
Mhm.
service. And so, like, she was like, "I know that's what you want to know about." Now she was like, "Yes." She's like, "You don't care about who I met? No. You don't care about what? No. Tell me what you eat."
Right. Yeah,
And
that gets you through the day. It gets you through the day.
I'm sorry.
It gets you through the day, because sometimes you be on set like, man, I'm hungry. And craft services is right over there. You just go. It's almost like just picking whatever you want out of like a vending machine without having to pay.
So I read about it when I was 12 years old, and I was like, "That's what I want to do. I'm gonna." That's gonna happen. So literally, I have interviewed you and everybody else on the Ladies Tale podcast. I even wrote a script, and I'm getting
Okay.
for audio so that I can have craft services one day.
Okay.
Everyone's like, you did too much work. But anyway, now let's get back to the serious part.
Okay.
Really? You think I'm doing too much work?
No, I feel like you do as much work as you want to do in order to accomplish whatever goal you want. So if you're like, I want craft services, but I'm gonna do a whole big production to get it, do it.
Yeah, I'm trying to sell a TV show so I can get craft services. I was
And
like,
TV
I
shows,
asked people to
multiple
please
seasons,
that, but they wouldn't do it.
but multiple seasons on a TV show, here's the thing. My wife doesn't like this all the time because I eat on set. So when I come home, I don't cook and I'm not hungry. So she's like so upset. It's like, you're not hungry? Like, "No, I had lunch. We had, and it's like unfathomable how much you can get. Like, I'm talking about like trays upon trays upon trays of stuff, and it's all free. So it's like you can get as much as you want. So it's like I'm not really hungry, except for the weekends.
So I have little boxes that I have kept, like the white boxes for carry out, and it says craft services on them. I have them tucked under my bed to move everywhere I go because one day that's all my stuff is going there to go. Stick it into my go.
Okay.
After I've eaten all day, I'm putting some to go. Anyway, now everyone now knows, and that's probably why they don't like invite me on set. Like, that'll be embarrassing. Stop it. Okay, now let's get back to like actually your project. What was the biggest challenge, do you think? Was it in writing, developing it, or actual shooting?
I would say early on it was a little bit challenging because we had a little bit of tragedy strike. One of our producers, his name is Jay Gordine or Jakar. He passed away while we were in pre-production. So it was sad and kind of made us halt for a little bit. But it kind of gave us more motivation to get the project done, seeing as how it's his last project that he was part of. So the writing process was fairly easy because the story I already had in my head. I had pretty much start to finish how I wanted it to be, and just finding our main lead, I'd say, was the other challenging part because we found everyone else kind of fell into the roles, but every person we auditioned for our main lead, he's supposed to be a 16-year-old kid, fairly young looking. So it doesn't matter if you're 20 or something. If you look 16, you can play it. But everyone we've auditioned never really fit until we found this one person. His name is Larry Roach. He does stage plays and everything else. Phenomenal actor. I think he's really going to be big out here in Atlanta, but he completely crushed the role of what we're looking for.
So that's amazing. Like, I just was talking to a casting director about like how hard their job is. First of all, I did not know what a casting director did. Wow. So like for you to be the director and have to find that main lead, that's amazing. Like that's some serious work right there. Whew. So in general, no. Okay, so classes are getting out. So I'm gonna have to hurry this up because we're gonna have a lot of noise in a minute. So I'm gonna go ahead and ask you about what do you think are the three most important things that you feel someone who's going to be a filmmaker needs to know?
Depending on what position you're going for, I would say know what you want. So if you're going into the industry, know what you want to do because it will take you a long time to get to a certain position. So as long as you know exactly what you want in the beginning, you can go down that path. You can make detours when you're further along, but if you don't know where you're going in the beginning, it's kind of going to throw you off because there's so many options to being a filmmaker. I would say if anybody's trying to be a director, the most important thing is to learn writing because even if you're not writing or directing your own scripts, sometimes you're directing other people's stuff. You might have to make some changes. You're never going to go exactly how their script is. You're going to get the script, you're going to read it. You're like, I like this, but I don't like that. I might want to change it up. So you need to know character developments, 3-act structures, just how to write upon somebody else's material to make it your own, but to also not pretty much destroy the integrity of what they wrote. And the third thing I would say is very important is to learn to collaborate and network. Learn to work with so many other people who have different thoughts, different ideas, and not be almost like a Grinch. Don't knock down anybody else's ideas, because other people bring things to the table too that you may not think of. A lot of ideas come from people saying, "Hey, what about this?" Or what if that somebody says that? And allow your actors to ad lib, allow your actors to contribute. You know, they'll go off the script as long as they want, but if they have an idea and they want to bring it to you, allow people to play around with what they're doing on set, because it's art. It's a collaboration of people bringing things together. So you can't just hold on to it just like it's yours, like it is, but you have all these other people that are trying to make it work too, because they have ideas and thoughts. So I would say collaboration and networking is a really big thing to know.
Oh, okay. I love that. A lot of times people that are directors always are telling me about like working between the studio and like what's going on actual set and knowing the creative and the producer like technical side. I love this advice. I like
Mm.
that other advice I can't do. I'll never be able to do that.
It's hard for me because I'm such a creative. I don't like the business side. Like my wife is constantly telling me, know the business. Like I know the business, but I don't want to worry about that, because I'm like, I want to make, I want to create, I want to put things out that people enjoy. And it's like, okay, if I can get somebody who's next to me that says, all right, Dom, here's this business side, here's this business side stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, cool, here's the creative side stuff. And we can bring it together, then that would be amazing, you know? But I understand knowing the producing side, all that stuff, but it's just like, there's no fun in that sometimes for me.
There's no fun in that. I remember when I was
Oh.
writing my and I was talking to my friends who were producers, and the first thing they did was like, oh, that's gonna like they started going through the budget. And then
Mm-hmm.
about it as well, that's gonna be too expensive. That's gonna be too expensive. That I can't move them to here because that's gonna be expensive. So it really does put like a hamper on what you're writing and what you think you might want. And I don't know. I don't know anything about this business. You know a heck of a lot more. So
I would say, well, I would say one thing is that most of the time I get those notes too, but what I do is I just write. You know, early on in my career, I used to write to what I could do, but then it's like now I'm thinking, let me just write to what I can envision, what I can picture. And if somebody wants to buy it or somebody wants to produce it, and they say, "Hey, we can do all this," then I don't have to, you know, trim and cut my script. I can be like, "Okay, cool." If they're like, "Hey, we can do all this, we might have to change this just a little bit." Okay. But if somebody's coming to me like, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that, it's like, well, I'm still gonna write it, because down the line, if someone says, "Hey, we can do that," then I still have it, you know?
okay, I'm back. Um, First of all, this advice has been amazing. Would you like to come back so we can talk more when I'm not trying to dodge crowds and the caterers and stuff while I'm
Oh yeah,
stuck in?
I would love to.
Yes, because I really want to know more about working with the more like the establishment and selling scripts and buying. I would love to know more. I'm sure my audience would love to know more. But I tend to interview people I want to know more from. But
Okay.
for us, our audience follows us like, okay, yeah, sure. I did want to know more about that. Good, because I'm going to learn more. Thank you so much for being here today. Can you tell us where we can find out more about you and about your work that you have coming up, as well as where we can like follow you on social media? Also, last part, what do you have coming up next?
Well, you can follow me on any social media platforms with my name, Dominic Goodie. DOMINICGOODIE. My production company has an Instagram called Pure Luxury Films. If you just Google my name, Dominic Goodie, everything that you need to follow me on will pop up. Instagram, YouTube, anything like that. Funny thing is, I am actually currently going through a couple scripts that I've written, because I was approached just recently from an independent production and producing company that is looking to option some of my scripts. So I'm kind of working on getting those things polished up right now, because they're indie, but they're pretty up there. Like their last film was with Mel Gibson and I forget his name, Josh something, but it was a pretty big film. It was like #1 on Apple TV and things like that. So I was actually pretty excited that they reached out. So I'm pretty much just working on that right now. I do have a concept short that I'm working on. I'm pretty much 3 out of 5 scenes shot that I'm going to use as a pitch to get other productions or other companies involved to see if they want to option it as well. And I'm just working on trying to write my next film, which is going to be an action one, because this one I just did was more of a drama. But the next one I'm doing is more like along the lines of a Jason Statham action film.
You getting that big budget?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember one of my friends was like, if a car moves, it's too much money for a new person.
No,
Like,
see, I have a lot of my own gear, so a lot of stuff that if I do on my own, I have car mounts, I have cameras, I have other stuff, so I don't actually have to spend money on rentals because my wife says I spent over $1 million so far, and I don't think I have, but she says I have. But I've pretty much bought a bunch of cameras, lights, car mounts, rigs, prop weapons, everything like that, because it's like I said, I don't like waiting, and I don't like trying to find those people. If I can't find those people, I become those people. So it's like I need a prop master. I don't know anybody who has their stuff. Okay, I'm a prop master then. I will learn to handle stuff. And like I said, being a veteran, I kind of learned how to handle weapons and stuff like that safely. Camera operator. I know I want a cam op. Well, no one's available. Okay, I'll operate the camera. I'll direct it. I'll do all those things in order to get the projects made because some people don't wait. People don't want to wait. So it's like, okay, well, we're gonna make these projects happen.
I love this. I love the spirit. We have got to talk again because there's so much that my audience needs to learn, so much that I need to learn. There's so much I need to learn. um, did you tell us where? Can you tell us one more time where we can look at your production company and see when we can actually see these movies on the
Okay. My
streaming?
YouTube has a lot of my stuff. It's Pure Luxury Films at youtube.com or youtube.com Pure Luxury Films. Now that I'm getting more serious and bigger, I haven't really been posting a lot there because a lot of companies want things to be exclusive and things like that, so they don't want you leaking things out. So but anything that I'm doing or upcoming is on my Instagram, Dominic Goodie Instagram, or my Pure Luxury Films Instagram. But if you Google my name, Dominic Goodie, everything you need to find me or follow me will pop up, which is pretty cool. I have the whole first page of Google, which is pretty awesome.
It is true. Before we started, I was looking for I want to see people who are doing cool stuff in Atlanta because I'm always looking in Hollywood. What are these people up to? And I was like, let me see what they're doing in Atlanta. And your name just kept popping up and popping up and popping up. So I was like,
That's
okay.
so cool.
And I was thank you so much for taking the invitation. And I'm sorry that I have an impromptu thing, but at least I have a beige wall. So I mean, that's
it's fine. Yeah,
pretty.
you're moving around and making it really dynamic.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it.
Right.
So I'm gonna my end. I'm Winona, and you can part of the Anti-Thought Ladies. You can find out everything that your ladies are up to at www.antithoughladies.com. And while you're there, go to the middle of the page, not the bottom of the page, but the middle of the page, and you can see the charities that we proudly support. We ask that you take a little time out and support them as well. Remember, it does not have to be a monetary donation. You can give them a little wisdom, or you can just volunteer your time. We thank you in advance for that. Remember that wisdom is all around you if you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona and the Missing Jade. Oh, yeah. Thanks for listening.